Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to completely reframe how we think about the human body's most underappreciated, but honestly, absolutely miraculous organ. We don't usually talk about it in polite company, but we're going on a fascinating journey straight into the human gut. And I promise you, by the end of this, you will never look at your digestive system the same way again.
So, to kick things off, let's take a look at this fantastic metaphor straight from our source material. The intestine is literally described as the ugly duckling among all your other beautiful, attractive organs. And let's be real, we all know exactly why. It makes its presence known through burps, cramps, and, well, unpleasant smells. It's a completely relatable, kinda awkward reality of our bodily functions. We tend to hide it, ignore it, or just feel plain embarrassed by it. But as we're about to discover together, this ugly duckling is actually the hidden genius of the human body.
Okay, let's dive right into this because we really need to clear up a major misconception right off the bat. The myth is that most people just picture their intestine as this passive, 26-foot coiled pipe, just a simple plumbing tube sitting at the bottom of the abdomen. But the reality? The reality is that your intestine is a proactive, wildly complex chemical machine. It's an absolute masterpiece of biological engineering.
Section 1. A 26-foot chemical factory. Transforming matter into life.
Now, check out this striking comparison. On one side, we've got highly nutritious food, and on the other, snake venom. Our source makes a truly startling point here. It's wild to think about, but without the specialized chemical processing of your intestine, even the absolute best, most nutritious food you could possibly eat would become as lethal to your body as snake venom. Your body just cannot absorb raw food. The intestine has to intercept it, break it down, and neutralize the dangers, literally converting something foreign into something life-giving.
And these chemical miracles, they're happening constantly. Let's say you eat some goat meat, right? Your gut doesn't just pass it along. It chemically breaks down that goat protein into basic amino acids so your own human body can actually absorb them. It takes the starches you eat and systematically converts them into pure glucose for energy. It isolates the fats, handing them off to the body's lymph system, which acts like a specialized delivery truck, taking that fat right into the bloodstream where it's needed. Millions of your cells rely entirely on this factory just to survive. And the best part? Once all those life-giving nutrients are extracted, the drainage system efficiently clears out whatever is left over in just a matter of hours.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how the intestine acts like a master timekeeper. The pacing of digestion varies wildly depending on what exactly is coming down from the stomach. If you drink a simple glass of water, bam, it takes only about 10 minutes to reach the intestine. But a heavy piece of meat? That requires some major processing in the stomach first, taking around 4 hours before it even arrives at the factory floor. The intestine is just constantly adjusting to these different arrival times and consistencies.
Section 2. Mapping intestinal architecture. The 26-foot blueprint.
To really picture this massive scale, just look at the lengths of the longest sections of your gut. The jejunum comes in at 8 feet long. The large intestine is 5 feet, and the ileum takes the crown at an astonishing 12 feet in length. It is absolutely awe-inspiring when you realize that all of this, literally tens of feet of highly specialized tissue, is meticulously folded and packed right inside your abdomen.
Let's take a quick walk through the whole blueprint, top to bottom. Because while the intestine might look like one big continuous piece from the outside, it actually functions as a highly specialized team where every single section has a unique role. Up first, connected right to the stomach, is the duodenum. It's a short segment, only about 10 inches long. Next is the jejunum, stretching 8 feet and about 1.5 inches thick. Following that is the incredibly long 12-foot ileum. From there, the process moves into the 5-foot large intestine and finally culminates at the rectum, which is the exit. That's 5 distinct zones, seamlessly passing material from one highly engineered phase to the next.
Section 3. The bacterial zoo inside. A tale of two environments.
You might just assume the whole intestinal tract operates exactly the same way, but there is actually a stark contrast. The upper gut is a remarkably sterile zone. Because of the highly acidic materials arriving directly from the stomach, most germs are immediately killed off up top. But as you travel further down, the lower gut is a completely different world. It is quite literally a massive bacterial zoo, teeming with this wild, complex ecosystem.
See this number? 50. That represents the roughly 50 distinct types of dangerous bacteria that just naturally inhabit this lower gut. And they don't just exist in small numbers either. They're living down there in the absolute trillions.
So the crucial point here is that because the intestine does such a flawless job of extracting nutrients, waste isn't simply leftover food. If your digestive system is working the way it should, the vast majority of human waste is actually made up of those trillions of dead bacteria, plus the various chemical secretions that got added along that 26-foot journey. It's actually only when the system malfunctions that you end up finding a lot of undigested materials in the mix.
Which brings us to Section 4, the gut's defense mechanism, a high-stakes chemical response.
First, we gotta understand the actual threat here. When food is churned up in the stomach, it gets mixed with incredibly potent acidic substances until it turns into a thick soup. When this highly acidic soup enters the first 10 inches of the intestine, the duodenum, it poses an immediate, massive danger. If this acid sits there for too long, it will literally burn the inner lining of the intestine. And that internal wound, that's exactly what we call an ulcer. But wait, the acid doesn't just threaten the tissue itself, it threatens the factory's workers. We're talking about roughly 600 specific chemical enzymes. You can think of them as expert cellular chemists, whose entire job is to transform your food. When this flood of stomach acid rushes in, these 600 enzymes are temporarily forced to just shut down and stop working. The whole factory basically comes to a screeching halt.
And this brilliantly illustrates the body's autonomous chain reaction. The intestine literally summons help to save itself in a 4-step rescue operation. Step 1, the dangerous acidic food enters the duodenum. Step 2, instantly the intestine defends itself by secreting a special fluid directly into your bloodstream. Step 3, this fluid travels straight to the pancreas, which reads it like a secret message calling for backup. And step 4, acting on that exact message, the pancreas immediately releases a salty alkaline neutralizing fluid right back into the duodenum to neutralize the deadly acid and save the intestine from burning.
To keep up with this constant threat, the pancreas acts as a highly dedicated first responder. Every 24 hours, it produces roughly 1.25 liters of this life-saving neutralizing fluid, over a liter a day, just to keep the acid at bay so those 600 expert enzymes can get safely back to work.
But here's the kicker. This pancreatic fluid is way more than just a fire extinguisher. It carries a highly specific payload. Along with neutralizing the acid, it contains 3 specific enzymes that fundamentally alter your food. I mean, they actively convert animal protein into human protein. They convert animal fat into human fat. And they turn starchy plants into the very life-giving energy that's coursing through your veins right now. It is just a stunning act of biological alchemy.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a final thought. We started by looking at the intestine as this ugly duckling, right? Known only for its cramps, smells, and awkward noises. But after mapping its 26-foot blueprint, witnessing its high-stakes chemical defenses, and seeing how it actively converts foreign matter into your own living flesh, well, next time your stomach rumbles or you let out a burp, will you remember the miraculous chemical factory that is tirelessly working to keep you alive? It truly is a biological superhero. Thanks so much for diving into this fascinating subject with me today.